Without mincing words, an average Nigerian see abroad as a means of permanent escape from the giant of Africa, which is our dearest country, Nigeria. This was the comment I got in one of the videos I uploaded about 5 months ago, where I talked about investing in Nigeria, building a house or commercial buildings back home. Somebody dropped this comment, and it is a claim as well as a question posed to each and every one of us here today. How do you feel about this claim? What do you think about it? Though there could either be a yes or no, response to this particular question or claim. And looking at it, it depends on individuals' perspectives, your experiences so far, your goals, your aspirations, your plans, your reason for moving abroad. Generally, most Nigerians consider certain places as better places for them to relocate to. The countries they considered abroad are sometimes the UK, United States, Australia, and some parts of Europe. They consider places as theirs as a place of escape from the suffering back home. Well, my name is Chinyere Ojike. If this is your first time on my channel, you are most welcome. Please like, subscribe, and keep coming back for more upload as this. All right, welcome back. So let's go with my yes response to this very claim. For many Nigerians, especially the young ones and the middle bracket income earners, they view abroad as a permanent means of escape from their harsh experiences in our home country. For instance, the economic and unemployment problems back home is something that is driving a lot of people away. That after graduation, people are not able to find a reasonable job. Even unreasonable jobs, they are no longer available in our country. Those who easily find job opportunities back home are those who already have Abrahams as fathers in our country. Yesterday, I attended a Nigerian Pentecostal church. A 48-year-old Nigerian man gave a testimony that when he finished his university education in Nigeria, he went to University of Benin for a job position. He is originally from Benin. Unfortunately, they did not give him that position. He was asked this question: who is your sponsor? And he said he was sponsored by his dad. Actually, the dad sponsored his university education. The man was like, are you there for something? Don't you have any politician, who has assigned you to come meet them for this position? He said no, he doesn't understand. And he did not get that position. Though to God be the glory, this man is now a professor in the US. He will be moving. He's also a pastor, So this is one of the reasons a lot of people tend to leave our country. In other words, our economy is something that is in a state of jeopardy, very shabby, constantly unstable, with a lot being imported into our country. It is lately that people who have already lived abroad are returning home to, invest in agriculture, production, and a whole lot. Even at that, it hasn't been enough. People are suffering back home. Inflation rate is just skyrocketing every year or even every month. The exchange rate back home is not something to write home about. Secondly, poor infrastructure and healthcare. This is not something to start talking about. Every Nigerian knows. The government-owned infrastructures or establishments, government hospitals, and a whole lot, they are the most places that are uncared for. Just the opposite of what we get abroad. For instance, the NHS has this high maintenance. Have you been to a private hospital here? Some of them are not properly maintained. The only thing is that the waiting rate is something that is very low. They will see you from straight as soon as you get to a private hospital here. Unlike NHS, you have to sit, especially at A and E, you have to sit for a longer hours for you to be seen. But maintenance is top notch. But back home, the reverse is just the case. Go to our general hospitals. I cannot really explain what I saw in Lagos State University. That was many years ago that I returned to Nigeria in 2013. The bed sheet, it was white. They were no longer white, but was it made color or something? And rusted iron beds and a whole lot of that. Very poor healthcare system, and people are dying in their numbers. Common ECG machines are not provided. These are the stuff that they have. Even countries like Saudi Arabia that I've been to, they have these ECG machines, a lot of healthcare facilities in order to help their locals. But our politicians are always having to fly down to the Western countries to receive their healthcare treatment. How much more can the citizens afford such? This is why people die from common illnesses back home. And this is the reason why a lot of people would escape and see abroad as a permanent place to stay. To some people, not all. Thirdly, insecurity and political instability. This is just the top notch. People are afraid for their lives. Our security system, I am not sure what they are doing, because the locals in our country do not even trust people on uniforms back home. It is sad, isn't it? These are people who are entrusted with securing lives and properties. Unfortunately, people are scared of them because they can even lie. I've seen videos. There was a man that came from Germany recently. They attacked that man, trying to accuse him of, is he smoking weed or cocaine or something like that, And police can even implant something in your car, then accuse you of carrying something that is not wanted. These are security forces in our country. Very terrible. This is the system. This is why a lot of people are not really happy with what is going on back home. And what they call franchise. We have all lost our franchise as citizens of Nigeria, the right to vote and be voted for. It is not something that is legal in our country. Not every citizen has the right to vote and be voted for in our country. We saw that played out a lot in the previous election that just took place, that brought in Emilokun into power. Everything was glaring clear. The tribal division and the whole lot, people being marginalized, denied of their rights to vote, even after they voted, destruction and the whole lot of a lot of instabilities, insecurity issues going on. A woman or a family, they were very much comfortable staying in Enugu. They moved to the UK. That was 2 years ago. She told me, the husband has money, good money. The husband runs this hotel businesses and a whole lot of that. But guess what? She said, every morning she's driving her little ones to school. She would look left and right to watch out for kidnappers, anybody attacking them, because it was so common at that point. And that was the reason they left. If not, why would they come to the UK when they have a whole mansion, large compound to themselves? So political instability is one of the major reasons a lot of people would leave Nigeria and consider abroad as a major means of escape. So next is the educational limitations. How many of you have read about or have seen posts about the recent crisis surrounding the outcome of the 2025 JAMB results? A 19-year-old promising young lady, no longer a child, took her own life because of the outcome of this year's JAMB results. For the first time last year, she sat for this JAMB. She scored 196, and she decided to try again this year, because for you to get admission in Nigeria, I think you currently have to score from 200 and above in order to secure a place in any universities back home. Correct me if I'm wrong. So she decided to give it a second try this very year. Guess what? When the result came out, she scored 148, and she decided to drink poison and buy herself. 19-year-old lady, no longer a child. Remember, here in the UK, I am currently working as an exam invigilator. Yes. At the age of 16, they are already doing their 15 and 16. They are already doing their year 11 exam, which is the GCSE, equivalent to our WAEC. That is what they are currently writing at the age 15 and 16. The boy I took out from an exam hall for 5 minutes break told me he has not turned 16 yet. Just to tell you that I'm talking with facts. He's yet to turn 16 and he's already doing this exam. And guess what? A girl who is or who was the late girl, 19, Imagine if the person was here and you finish your secondary school at the age of 16. By 18, you have done your college 2 years. So by that 18 or 19, you should have been in the university. And we have some people in our country, even most of us parents who are here, even at age 20 something, 22, 23. Let me know at what age you started university in Nigeria. And those who managed to have attended, especially the polytechnics and the colleges of education, they are being discriminated. That they do not have a BSc university degrees, therefore they don't have a place in getting a job in all those public sectors in Nigeria. And then they require you to have NYSC results in order for one to get a job. And you would go risk your life in the northern part of Nigeria. At the end of it, you wouldn't even find a job. Myself, I studied mass communication and I served in a primary school where I taught English language, JSS 1 to JSS 3 in Darazo Primary School. What does that got to do with my qualification, somebody who read mass communication? Could it not have made sense for me to have been posted in a radio station, TV station, printing press stations and all of that in our country as at then to enable me, get more experience in my field? But no, in a primary school. So these are just the educational limitations a lot of people face back home. So next is lack of opportunities for advancement. This is something that is very much lacking in most professional bodies back home. You do it with your own money, but here some companies, they tend to pay for their workers to get advancements like current CPD. This is common in most of the workplaces here. No matter the kind of job you are doing, you constantly upskill, and even at that, you can also upskill as an individual, pay for it if you want. I know a couple of friends around me. Some of them are in their late 40s. To be honest, she will be going back to school by September to study social work. This lady has her own house. She has her own business. She has a lot. This is an opportunity for advancement for anybody. My friend in Liverpool, going to school very soon with 3 children. Boy, it's hard to do this back home. Once you are married, you might even forget that you went to school or you are a graduate. You sit in your husband's house. You don't have any opportunities for advancement. And that notwithstanding, you can't even find any job to work from home. Unless you are selling something by the corner of the street or the road, or you are running a salon and all of that. But here, there are so much to do. If you do not see job in this country, you are on your own, because a lot of job opportunities for everyone, depending on what you want. Work from home for working mothers, part-time for people like us, like me that I'm alone, I do part-time job, Anyway, it is as a result of the above reasons that I've stated and explained so far that gave rise to what is tagged the Japa wave, people escaping Nigeria in the name of getting a better life abroad. Some of them do not tend to come back, rather to get their stay abroad and start enjoying life with their families over there in any of these Western countries they have found themselves. So in other words, it is a big fat no. Not everyone sees abroad as a means of escaping permanently from Nigeria. Some see it as a place of temporary stay. So moving abroad to some people is a strategic move and not something they see as a permanent means of escape. Moreover, for this set of people, they see abroad as a place of acquiring better education and work experiences. Secondly, they see it as a place where they stay, they work and send remittances back home to support their families, numerous friends and relatives, ndị gburu ozu odogwu, where to show off, what they have acquired abroad. Yes, they don't intend to stay abroad permanently. Another set in this no category also see abroad as a place where they can build up, where they can make money and build up real estates back home, or even establish businesses. A lot of people are working and making investment back home. They have their hotel businesses back home. They have their plazas. They have built commercial structures and a whole lot of things that they've established back home, recreational centers. They work very hard in abroad. They send money to Nigeria in order to have their businesses established. Do not tell me that they would abandon these businesses to keep living abroad. No, from time to time, they visit home in order to look out for their businesses. Interestingly, you can even live abroad and be monitoring your businesses back home on a CCTV. People install that a lot in their homes abroad, looking out for their houses miles away, but home, a lot of people cannot live abroad permanently. So it is still a no for some people, not generally a means of running away permanently. Other people in this no category, have a plan of retiring back home. So they will sometimes go back home for their retirement. Therefore, they see abroad as a temporary place where they work, make a living, and then go back home for their retirement. Because some people are still emotionally and culturally connected to Nigeria. They see abroad as their long-term plan, as a place they would reside for a long time and then retire back home for final settlement. So another group of people who do not see abroad as a permanent means of escape are people who experience something they call disillusionment and identity crisis abroad. People who experience cultural shock, people who experience racism abroad, people who have identity crisis abroad, experiencing high cost of living. These make people to begin to reassess their views about Nigeria. Some of them, in turn, consider relocating to Nigeria. We have seen a lot of people on the space of social media talking about how they relocated back to Nigeria after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. This is common on this space. Though some of this set of people do not relocate entirely back to Nigeria, rather they began to accept their dual identity, trying to strike a balance between accepting the norms in their current country and not throwing away their Nigerian cultural norms. So they are in between, and these are the set of people who would always stay here and they visit home. They stay here, they visit home all the time in order to refreshen up and then come back to the country where probably their cultural system is totally strange and aiding, we keep on trying, we survive. Finally, for many Nigerians, abroad is seen as a permanent means of escape, mostly driven by the frustrations about the state of things back home. But for others, abroad is seen as a means to an end or a broader aspect of life plan. However, the perception is deeply shared by personal experiences, socio-economic background, and a whole lot are involved. It depends on your plans, your experiences, your background, what brought you abroad and what is taking you abroad. Everyone does not have the same targets or blueprints while living Nigeria. We all have our plans, and it depends on how you entered, like I stated. Meanwhile, thank you once again for loving my video. Please like, subscribe, and keep coming back for more. I would also love to read your comments on what you think. How long have you been abroad? Have you visited, or are you staying here permanently? Have you escaped permanently?